Hey everybody, how you doing? Mikey's back with an interesting experiment slash review. Um, there's an app out there called Read It or Reddit, however you want to pronounce it. Um, the app is it's like a internet forum type thing with a bunch of different sub channels. Most of them are dumpster fires. Some interesting reading. There's some wackadoos out there. Yeah. Anyway, there is a dipping tobacco subreddit on there. It's just called Dipping Tobacco, one word, Dipping Tobacco. So if you're on Reddit or Reddit, look up Dipping Tobacco if you're interested in seeing what people are talking about. A lot of newbie questions in there, guys talking about what they can and can't find in their area. Some pretty stupid questions, some pretty good questions, and some guys, the way they talk about their dip makes you wonder if they've ever had a girlfriend. Yeah. Anyway, I was cruising through that the other day because I was bored, sick at home, and one guy said he made Dr. Pepper dip. Dr. Pepper? Ooh, what does that have to say? Basically, what they did, and apparently it's somewhat common. Some guys have, apparently a number of people have heard about it. Copenhagen straight and Skoal cherry. You put them together, and apparently it tastes like Dr. Pepper, according to some people. Curiosity got the better of me. I had a can of each, was sitting in the fridge, so I took a can of each, dumped them in a mason jar, gave it a nice shake, blended it all up. It's been sitting in here for like a day and a half now. And let's see if we have Dr. Pepper dip or some abomination that should not be released to all mankind. I'm smelling cherry. Not as strong as the regular Skoal cherry was. That stuff, you can smell this stuff through the can, okay? When I first time I ever tried this, I mean, I was holding it this far away from my nose and I could smell cherry profusely. It was very strong. Took a dip of it. It had a very medicinal flavor right away. Um, it was almost like cherry cough syrup for the first couple of minutes. After that medicinal type artificialness went away, it was definitely like cherry lifesaver flavored dip. It was a very strong cherry. This, I'm smelling cherry, but it's nowhere near as strong as just the Skoal by itself. The Copenhagen straight is probably in there, but the cherry is definitely on the nose, front and center. So, yeah. Whenever I blend tobaccos, this is kind of what I do. I throw them in a mason jar, seal it up, and just give it a good shake. And then I just let it sit for a day or so, let everything mingle. Curiosity is killing me. I'm going to take a dip straight out of said mason jar. If I can get a good pinch out of said mason jar. Got to get my chubby little fingers in said mason jar. Alrighty. This is going to be Dr. Pepper, or is this going to be something weird? I do not know. Skoal and Copenhagen. They're both part of U.S. Smokeless Tobacco Company. Now I like Skoal straight, or not Copenhagen straight. I like Copenhagen straight. I like Skoal straight too. But let's see what happens when you add cherry flavor to it. Hmm. This is interesting. The guy on the Reddit page said it's supposed to be 3 parts cherry to 2 parts straight. I didn't do that. I dumped a can of each. 50-50 is what I did. So my flavor might be a little different from what he was doing. I have more straight in there than. I'm not getting Dr. Pepper. What I am getting, cherry Coke. Huh. Yeah. The sweet and tangy from the straight with its little bit of smokiness, combined with the cherry. It's giving me definitely a cola-ish flavor with the cherry. I don't know if I'd call this Dr. Pepper. Cherry Coke is what comes to mind right now. Strong cherry Coke. Huh. That's interesting. It's good. It's a good combination. Kudos to whoever thought this up. But I don't know if I would call this Dr. Pepper. It's definitely cola-ish notes, the combination of the flavors. That's where my mind is going. Cherry Coke. Let this juice up for a minute or two, see what we got going here. Yeah. But yeah, if you're ever into the Reddit or Read It app, yeah, it's some of the subreddits in there, complete dumpster fire. I actually got myself banned from a couple of them because I dared express my opinion, which flies in the face of whoever was running that subreddit, and they kicked me out because, they don't like controversial opinions. I said, there's two genders, male and female. Boop, I was gone. That was from the Eugene, Oregon Reddit page. The Portland, Oregon Reddit page is, since Trump got elected, that whole subreddit has gone into complete and total meltdown. It's kind of funny to read. They're just livid. Eggs are a 10. Eggs have gone up under Trump. It's like, no, egg prices were on the rise before he even was inaugurated. I'm sorry. All the chickens that were killed that caused egg prices to go up, that happened in early December. Okay? Trump had nothing to do with killing the chickens, okay? So those of you who are saying that the Nazis have murdered a bunch of chickens, thus causing the price of eggs to go up, need to go back and take a look at what happened. Same thing happened a few years back. Bird flu scare. They panicked. They culled millions of chickens to prevent the spread of bird flu, and the price of eggs went up. Back then, it wasn't as bad as it is now. The grocery store in my little town here, for a couple of weeks, eggs were $10 a dozen. Luckily, I have enough friends, because I live out in the country, who have chickens. And I just, hey, I got a bunch of egg cartons. You want to trade for a couple dozen eggs? Oh, yeah, I got a crap ton of eggs. Come on over. Get some free eggs. Yeah, life in the country. Right now, eggs have gone down a little bit. At this store here in my little town, they're around $7 a dozen. You go over in the Coos Bay, they're down to about 5 or 6. Still pretty high from what they used to be, but not as bad as $10 a dozen like they were. So, and for those of you who aren't familiar with chickens when they hatch, you gotta wait usually about 6 months before they start to lay. And they don't hit their prime as laying chickens, laying an egg a day on average, until they hit close to a year, 8 months to a year. So, yeah, that's the way chickens work. They have to grow and mature just like any other creature. So when you kill a few million laying hens because of bird flu scare, that's going to cause a shortage because there's suddenly a few million less eggs being made a day. Common sense. Once everything comes back up to normal and they get production back up after the bird flu thing has gone away, things go back to normal. Trump had nothing to do with it. I'm sorry. I don't want to burst your bubble, but he didn't. That happened way before he took office. Anyway, that's just what some of the subreddits are doing. Others are more general hunting, fishing, various topics. Some of the local regional ones are quite funny to look at. See what people are complaining about in their neck of the woods. I look at some of the ones in the Midwest and it's like, oh, their problems are a little bit different from what they are here. Similar, but different. In my little town, there's not a subreddit for my little town. They do have a Facebook page, though, Neighborhood Watch, or what's happening in Myrtle Point. It's kind of funny. Someone's chickens are loose on Spruce Street. If they're yours, come get them. There's a goat running loose over on Maple. There's a couple of dogs over on Stringtown Road. They wouldn't come near me. They're running into traffic. You might want to go get them if they're yours. That's pretty much what my neighborhood stuff is. Livestock and pets running amok. Yeah. Okay, this is juiced up for a bit. I'm not getting Dr. Pepper, but I am getting definitely like a cherry Coke vibe off of this. Actually, a pretty good combination. I like this. Yeah, whoever thought of this? If you want to be adventurous in your dip experimentation and try blending your own, straight plus cherry gives you cherry Coke, or possibly Dr. Pepper, depending on what your taste buds are telling you. Right now, mine's leaning towards cherry Coke. Definitely tasting the cherry. No smokiness, but the sweetness and the tanginess from the straight blending with the cherry definitely give it a cola-esque type flavor, which is quite good. Yeah, I'm enjoying this. Found a good use for my can of Skoal cherry that my daughter gave me for Christmas. I now have cherry cola flavored dip. Not bad. If you're looking for something different, change of pace, try experimenting, blending. I've tried wintergreen mixed with mint. I didn't quite get the proportions right, and it was okay. Wintergreen is an ingredient used in root beer, so I wonder if you mixed wintergreen with a straight, if you'd get more like a root beerish flavor. I don't know. Copenhagen Reserve hasn't hit the shelves in my area yet. I know that's kind of a root beer-esque flavor for what I've been hearing. But yeah, this is definitely worth trying. If you got a can of Skoal cherry and you don't know what to do with it after you tried it and it wasn't for you, mix it with some straight. See what happens. Anyway, yeah. If you're on Reddit or Reddit, however you want to pronounce it, check out the Dipping Tobacco subreddit. It's an interesting read every now and then. Like I said, sometimes it's some pretty mundane and stupid questions. Sometimes guys talking about what they're dipping and where they're dipping and their experience is quite humorous. Yeah. There's a guy talking about dipping at the barber, and he almost made it sound like an orgasmic experience. It was a weird read. But yeah, you get that. Plus, you get a lot of newbie questions. Where can I find this? My gums hurt. My throat feels dry. It's like, well, you're dipping too much for a newbie. You need to back off. Anyway, this has been Mikey. This has been a fun experiment. You blend Skoal cherry with Copenhagen straight, or I guess probably any straight would do, and you get what I taste, cherry Coke. Some people say Dr. Pepper. I did a 50-50 blend instead of a 3 to 2. I'm getting a cherry cola-esque flavor. Not bad at all. Mikey likes it. I have no idea how long this flavor is going to last. The cherry has subsided a bit. Maybe if it subsides a little bit more as time goes on, I'll get more of a Dr. Pepper. But right now, cherry Coke is what's coming to mind for me. Anyway, this has been Mikey. This has been cherry cola blend or Dr. Pepper blend, however you want to taste it. Y'all take care. I'll catch you on the flip side. Happy dipping. Bye.